All right. I want to talk about why you should plan your career around problems and why I think it's no longer safe to work in an air quote industry without knowing those actual problems you're trying to solve. So I see a lot of people who want to work in cybersecurity, and I basically said the same when I was getting started in this industry. But now I think this is the wrong frame to think about going into the job market. I don't think you should imagine yourself going into an industry. I think it's too vague and unfocused to give you any sort of stability in the post kind of AI world. I think the only way to get stability in this future, or at least as much as actually possible, is to be really talented at working on really hard problems. And that requires that you can actually articulate what those problems are that you're actually excited about and that you want to work on. So in my case, in the past, I would have said, I want to be a security expert. I want to be an InfoSec, which is now called cyber. And if someone asked me, what do you want to work on? I would have said something like, well, I don't really know, but I like recon. I like web hacking. I like risk assessment. I like building testing methodologies, OSINT, stuff like that. And then my career would like haphazardly move in that direction. I just keep having at bats and I hope to get lucky. And eventually, hopefully, I become known for those things. I don't recommend that anymore. I don't think that's going to work anymore. I think now we need a different model. I think what people should say today is, look, I'm fascinated by all sorts of security problems, but my favorite security problems are the many eyes problem, or the time delay problem in attack surface management, or not knowing if a given actor is automated in like a real person or like an AI agent or something, or maybe not knowing if someone is actually a deepfake, whether it's like audio or video or whatever. How do you know if you're actually interacting with someone real in this future state? So if you get excited about those problems and you describe your work and your career in terms of those problems, you're going to have a massive advantage, because nothing is more attractive to a hiring manager than somebody who's both competent and self-directed. And if you're obsessed by problems, then you tend to be the type of person who is self-directed. And importantly, when I'm mentioning those things, right, there's still security, there's still cyber, but I'm not starting with a legacy narrative of I want to be in security. This basically says, look, I like security problems, and here are the specific ones that I want to work on. And it's going to be more robust in competition with other people. Because again, it goes back to the hiring manager wanting someone who is going to be self-motivated. And people who are obsessed with things tend to be self-motivated. So you want to get fascinated by problems. That fascination leads to curiosity. The curiosity leads to work. The work leads to skill. And over time, that skill accumulates until you're a very competent person. So if we compare these old versus new narratives, it would be like in the past, I would say something like, I want to get into security, maybe something like pen testing. And the new version of this, I recommend, is like, I'm fascinated by the security space and the problems within it, but especially around the difficulty of automating manual pen testing. That's very specific, right? Or another old version. I'd like to get into security, maybe something in identity or something. And, I have a GitHub. Not very exciting. New version. I'm fascinated by problems in the security space, especially around how we're going to tell the difference between AI agents and humans. And I've got some small projects here, which you could check out, about me trying to do that. The difference between these two is fairly small, but it is massive. One person also said, I want to do cool stuff and I've got a GitHub. But the other person is like, I'm obsessed with this problem and here's code to prove it. To a hiring manager, the old version, the previous version, sounds like somebody who needs mentoring and needs handholding, which ideally they'd be able to give, but very few companies have the ability to actually mentor people right now. And that's why self-directed employees are worth like 10 times as much as anyone else, because they don't need to be constantly managed. And basically that's what the new version does. It basically communicates that you won't need to manage me. You just point me in the direction and I'll go do it. And that is somebody to hire and also somebody to get rid of last, even if AI is coming, right? So the summary here is it's a really, really bad time to not know what you want to do in security or in any part of your career. You don't want to be like, I just want to do security. Maybe roughly pen testing, maybe roughly whatever. You don't want to be broad like that. You want to be very directed. And this is why I'm so obsessed with questions and problems, because they provide clarity and they focus your curiosity and your talent to an actual edge that gets things done. And that's really my advice. Don't think about an air quote industry. Think about problems you want to solve because they fascinate you, and then figure out ways to articulate and pursue different ways that you can actually solve those problems. And we will see you in the next one. Take care.